Hello. I hope that this is going out to YouTube. Hello, replay viewers. As the title of the stream suggests, this stream, sorry, putting you on the holder there, the stream is going to consist of the birthplace, the death site, and some stories and information about Annie Oakley. We are currently in Greenville, Ohio, which is where she was born. We are headed to her birthplace right now. You know, I think I am going to pop out of this busy gas station, head across the street to make sure that this is doing what I hope and think it's doing. Because I'm not sure if we're on YouTube. Oh, okay. Hello. I cannot read chat on this. Hello, viewer. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a stream about the life, birth, and death primarily of Annie Oakley, who was born and raised here in Greenville, Ohio. We're headed to her birthplace right now. The cabin that she was born in no longer exists, but there is a little plaque around the location of her birthplace. So that's where we're heading. This is the little town of Greenville, Ohio. It is the county seat of Dark County, Ohio, which is a western county, extreme western county. It's a border county, and Greenville is a border city. Well, close to a border city, to Indiana.
In half a mile, turn right on East Main Street.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you heard that or not, sorry. I have my GPS going because there were just coordinates to this location. So hello to everybody who's coming in. I cannot read chat, so if those of you who are already in here could welcome the folks who are just joining, that would be great.
In 1,000 feet, turn right.
And kind of fill them in on where we are and what we're doing. We're heading towards the Annie Oakley birthplace here in Greenville, Ohio. So thank you very much for joining. It's a beautiful day here in Eastern Ohio. I hope it's nice where you are as well. Oh, sorry. It took me a little bit longer because I didn't have good internet reception outside of Greenville, and I was looking for a place to fill up my gas tank because I didn't want to start this adventure and then run out of gas or have to fill up with you guys, because nobody wants to watch you fill up with gas. And so I found a little gas station, which is great. And then I just found out that Speedway, which is my main gas station, is right up here, and I would have preferred to have gone to Speedway.
Turn right on East Main Street.
We now have a full tank of gas, and I don't need to worry about it. Alrighty.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left on North Ohio Street.
Okay, so continuing through the sweet little town of Greenville, Ohio. This town was founded in the early 1800s. And hold on.
Turn left on North Ohio Street.
I was just going to say, I think I need to turn left here. From what was obviously Native Americans, indigenous peoples' land. There's actually a treaty that Tecumseh signed with the native tribes here, called the Greenville
In 3/4 of a mile. Turn right on Krepberg Road.
because it was signed in the city of Greenville. It's Greenville High across the way, or Greenville School, sorry. Greenville's a little town, so all their schools are kind of together. Just kind of have one big complex. Your eyes are not making tricking you. There are windmills out here. Get a pretty nice, fairly constant breeze. So that's one of our renewable resources that Ohio and Indiana and other areas in the Midwest are just starting to explore. So you will see those tall windmills on occasion. And
In 1,000 feet, turn right.
Okay, there it is. I was going to say, and of course, now that I mention it, they're going to not be around. But there are some controversies with those windmills. Some
Turn
people
right on Krepberg Road.
don't care for them. Feel that they ruin land value or sight lines or some such thing. And I honestly think that they're wonderful. I think it's great to use renewable resources when you can.
In 1/4 of a mile. Turn left on US 127 North.
Excuse me if I keep cutting short and seeming to just stop speaking. My GPS is talking to me, and I don't know if you guys can hear it, because sometimes you can hear things on my phone when I hear it, and sometimes you don't. So
Turn left on US 127 North.
okay, so they have completely changed this intersection, and I cannot turn left. So my GPS
In
is
1.2
gonna be
miles. Exit to US 36 East, State Route 571, Pickway, Greenville.
And that is very interesting. They've done that within the past few months. Because, yeah, you used to be able to turn left. Okay, so I'm going to do a U-turn here, which is legal. In fact, you can see the little U-turn signs on the road. It's specifically for people who wanted to turn left, but now cannot. So that's very, very interesting. Alrighty. So, now that we've made a U-turn and effectively turned left at that intersection, we should be heading the correct way.
Continue straight for 15 minutes to East Star Road.
Okay. So we are heading to the area northwest of Greenville in Ohio, and this is going to be the area of a little town called North Star, as in the Northern Star. It no longer exists, to my knowledge. I mean, there may be a few buildings. I don't know. I've never been there. So we will see together what North Star looks like now. And the cabin that Annie Oakley was born in is in this vicinity of North Star. Now, also the children's home is another area that we're going to go take a look at. Well, I take that back. We're going to go look at where the children's home was on Children's Home Road, and you'll find out how that links into the story later. But the actual cabin where Annie Oakley was born is no longer standing. She was born in 1860, and she wasn't really famous enough, if you will, to keep her home standing at the time, because as things progressed, they just kind of tore down all the cabins and little buildings, and either planted things, made farmland, or built housing on top of them. Sorry, totally distracted. I saw a sign for Girl Scout cookies. Squirrel. So her house no longer stands. However, there is a plaque indicating the general area of where the cabin was. So we're going to go and try to find that plaque. And even if we don't find the plaque, we'll be in the area that she was born. So her parents were Sarah and Jacob. They were devout Quakers, and Indiana and this part of Ohio and Pennsylvania, kind of all the way across Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, are all very prevalent Quaker homesteads in the early and mid 1800s. A lot of Quakers moved into this area, so her family being Quaker wasn't that odd. And Quakers at that time, well, still are, I should say, they are folks who are mainly pacifists, and so during a lot of the wars that Pennsylvania was involved with, as well as the Civil War, a lot of them left and went to areas of the country that were not involved with the wars. They also were with the Underground Railroad to help slaves, to help Southern slaves escape slavery and relocate in Canada. And this part of Ohio and the neighboring section of Indiana were very, very prevalent in the Underground Railroad. And perhaps on another stream, we can go to the Levi Coffin House, which was considered one of the major stations on the Underground Railroad, and also the towns of Richmond and Dartown, and several little towns in Indiana, all the way up through Fort Wayne, Indiana, and further, were very integral on the Underground Railroad. So there's a lot of really good history and kind of fun facts about that. But for right now, going back to Annie Oakley and her family, Annie was born, I'll tell you a little bit of this now, so that way when we get there you guys kind of know. She was born on August 13th, 1860. She was the 6th child. She had 5 siblings at the time, of, like I mentioned, Sarah and Jacob. And she eventually was the 9th, well, she was one of 9 siblings. Her mother had another child after her, and then there were some more children later on with a second husband. And Annie was one of 5 girls, and I'm sorry, she was one of 6 girls, and there were 2 boys. One was stillborn, which was unfortunately very common. It's one of the reasons they had so many children, was because the likelihood of a child living past age 1 was slim, and living past age 5 was even slimmer. And when you live out in the middle of nowhere and have a farm and such, you really need those hands to make work easier and achievable. So they had a lot of children. Like I said, one was stillborn, and then she did have a brother by the name of Henry, who was a little bit older than her, I believe 2 years. But, and also, Annie Oakley is not her given name. She was born Phoebe Ann Mosey. So Sarah and Jacob Mosey had their little daughter Phoebe Ann on August 13th of 1860. Her mother always called her Phoebe. She never called her anything else. All of her sisters and her brother called her Annie. it was thought that she preferred Annie over Phoebe. And then she took her name Oakley from the small town of Oakley, Ohio, which was near her birthplace. We're not going to go to Oakley because honestly I don't know where Oakley was. It no longer exists at all. So if somebody finds where Oakley was and can give me coordinates to it, be glad to go. But I didn't spend a whole lot of time researching it, but I didn't find any coordinates or information on where it was when I was doing research for this. So yeah, like I said, if you guys are interested and want to do research on it, great. Go for it. Let me know, and we'll see about going there. But so she was born Phoebe Ann, and at an early age, she preferred to go hunting with her father. She really loved being outdoors, and at the time, girls really weren't outdoor types. They were inside sewing and cooking and cleaning, and little Phoebe Ann was like, yeah, I'm not into that. I want to be outside with the animals. I want to be in the air. I want to be in the trees. I want to go exploring. So her father would take her along hunting with him, and she mainly started, as a child would, with throwing rocks at animals and trying to hunt that way. But every time they would go, she would very intently watch her father load his rifle, and he would tell her how he would take aim, and then she said the exhilaration of seeing the flash out of the muzzle and the animal fall from an unseen hand was exhilarating to her. We just passed by the sign for her gravesite. We will go there, but we're going to kind of do this chronologically. So anyway, so she was exhilarated by hunting. She thought it was wondrous and exhilarating. And her father died in the spring of 1866. 1866. Excuse me. She was 6 years old when her father died, and he got caught in a blizzard and got hypothermia and died from pneumonia and complications. So Phoebe Ann's mother was really distraught. She had all these children, and she didn't have a way to care for them. So Phoebe decided upon herself that she would take her father's rifle and go out and hunt and get food for the family and kind of meet their needs that way as much as she could. So she explained her first shot, her first kill, as being the best shot of her life and the most memorable shot. She retells the story as she loaded her father's loaded her father's rifle, put the gunpowder in the muzzle and packed it and all that, where you would load rifles. And she said she took aim, held her breath, prayed to her father, and squeezed the trigger. And I'm sorry if this is a bit graphic, I apologize, but she hit a squirrel in the head and dropped the squirrel, and that's the cemetery where she's buried. We'll be back there. And the squirrel fell, and she brought the squirrel home to her mom, very pleased with herself. And I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but if you're killing something with a rifle, there's what's called buckshot. And what it is it's a bullet, tiny little pellets, and they're very, very difficult to get out of the animal. They're difficult to remove and clean out, and you don't want to eat the pellets. They're lead, and number one, you want to be able to get as many out as possible, so that way you can reuse them and repack them and use them for another hunting trip. And number two, you don't want to eat lead bullets. So when Phoebe Ann's mom set out to clean the squirrel for their dinner, she noticed that the squirrel didn't have any buckshot in it. And she was shocked, because even Phoebe Ann's father, would, bring in animals that she would have to spend a lot of time cleaning. And with Phoebe Ann's, she didn't. And as this continued, as Phoebe Ann kept hunting, her mom kind of exclaimed that she never had to clean buckshot out of the animals. Phoebe Ann always was able to get them with one clean shot, and they never had to worry about any buckshot with them. And she exclaimed this to her grocer one time when she was in town. Sarah was talking to her grocer, and she exclaimed that her daughter Phoebe Ann was an amazing shot. And and the grocer, was surprised that this little 6, 7